This is Smiles TV. Welcome to Smiles Television Talk Show. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony Miles, and welcome to Three Hearts with One Agape Purpose. This segment, we will discuss growing up too soon. Did you grow up too soon? Are your children attempting to grow up too soon? We're going to talk about it. Remember, Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. He was crucified and buried, and he rose on the third day. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. Believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, and thou shalt be saved.
This episode of Smiles TV features Three Hearts with One Agape Purpose. Join host Stephanie Anthony Miles as she speaks with Valerie Young, a U.S. military veteran, a Veterans of Foreign Affairs commander, VFW Post 3480, in East St. Louis, Illinois. Valerie brings an extensive background in criminal justice, from crime scene analysis to law and procedures. Valerie is also a melanated mother of two, servant leader, and a poet. We also meet Brianna Grayson, a mental health advocate who lives well with bipolar disorder and empowers others to do the same. Featured in the Healthy Reader's Digest, Brianna is a skilled technical writer with a passion for storytelling. Together, Stephanie, Valerie, and Brianna bridge a wide age gap. They create a dynamic space where each woman acts as both mentor and mentee, exchanging wisdom on careers, parenting, and emotional growth. Stay tuned for a fresh perspective on everything new, parenting challenges of adult children, and bridging generational gaps on this episode of Three Hearts with One Agape Purpose.
Welcome back to Smiles Television Talk Show. We're wondering, why are children attempting to grow up too fast? Sitting with me are Three Hearts, One Agape Purpose, Brianna Grayson, who's a prolific writer and a mental health advocate, and Valerie Young, who's a commander in the VFW for 3480 East St. Louis branch. Ladies, welcome back for Three Hearts, One Agape Purpose.
Thank you for having us.
And how are you doing today, Miss Brianna?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And you had a question for me.
Yeah, I wanted to know, how do you define growing up too fast? Like, what does that mean? What are some examples of that?
That's a very good question, and we're going to let Valerie start off with that. Valerie, what do we mean when we say growing up too fast?
Well, when I think of growing up too fast, I basically think that the children are obviously the age of their children age, whatever that is, 0 to 17 and a half, before their 18th birthday, and they want to possibly rush life a little bit more, because when the child is under that 18-year scope, they are confounded by certain boundaries and rules, and they get so excited where they're like, oh, I want to do what I want to do, or, when it comes to rules. And that's what we're trying to let them know, that there are rules and boundaries and expectations. And I don't think the child understands what the parent does and how they monitor them up until that age point.
Okay, so it's more about like kids wanting their agency, basically, and that's what's making them like just want to grow up and just so they can do what they want to do, or they.
It's a part of it. I don't want to put that in one scope, but it's a larger part of that.
That's a part of it. And actually, this was Valerie's concept, and I thought it was such a wonderful idea to discuss this. And so in my mind, when we talk about what's growing up too fast, I think about even kids 12 years old trying to wear makeup. Okay, I think about kids wanting to stay on the telephone all night because they think they can, or when they get verbal back with their parents and insult their parents in different ways. So just wanting us parents to leave them alone in so many words. And I believe part of it is attributed to social media and where we are today. What do you guys think about that?
You want to take this, or I can?
Yeah, social media definitely plays a part because I said it earlier, there's no separation between ages on social media. So you have underage kids who are looking at 30-year-olds or 20-year-olds, 40, 50-year-olds, thinking that they could do the same things, or just wanting to get to that point of life sooner than it's going to happen. So social media definitely accelerates
Well, let me ask you guys a question. When you were growing up, did your parents or teachers often ask you, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Was
Often,
that often asked of
often.
you? And that was of me too. And so when that question is asked, does that seem to put pressure on the child to want to grow up to be this nurse, or I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a lawyer, or whatever those things are? And so early in life, when we start asking those questions, is that a type of pressure?
I don't think it's a pressure when you ask a kid what they want to be when they grow up. I think one of the pressure of the child is they don't know a lot of things that's behind the scenes. Like literally, most children don't know what a parent does to pay the bills and upkeep the home or get to work on time. You know, being timely is contributes to your character. So maybe kids don't understand what it's like. Well, mom, like, look, we need to go. You know,
Mm,
and but that depend on age because if you're like 5 and below or 7 and below, that possibly doesn't contribute to you. And I'm talking about timely, lateness, and so forth. But when you're older, getting in that teenage stage, it's like I really need you to understand that we all have rules to follow. So
Brianna, I understand in talking with you off camera, you said growing up, you said I didn't have any aspirations to grow up too fast. So, did any of your friends, did you see that among your peers? And what kept you from being pressured into trying to grow up so fast?
I was just enjoying my childhood. I liked going to Six Flags every week in the summer and just not having to get up early. There was pressure with that question of like, what do you want to be? Because then I noticed like I wanted to be one thing. And then when I switched to something different, when I did become of age, it's like, whoa, I thought you wanted to do this. And then I'm like, made me feel like, oh, like a failure. Not a failure, but
Hmm.
like I didn't live up to what I had originally said or something. Not to say that what I chose was like lesser or anything, it's just different.
but you
Hmm.
can change your mind. That's what life is about. Because I grew up wanting to do something. My back, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer at the age 5. Let me just throw that out there. Shout out to Perry Mason. So I knew I wanted to be a lawyer at the age of 5. So I kind of geared my career based off anything law oriented. For one, I lived in an urban society or the ghetto or the hood or whatever you want to classify it as. So whoop, that's one thing out the way. Because when you grow up in certain type of societies, you get a perspective about it. You don't classify every hood like your hood, but you get a broader perspective. And then I started going to school and learning and then I went to the military. So all this kind of meshed with what I wanted to do. And then you start looking at the crime aspect of cold cases, how you want to solve these things for these families, because it's a lot of cold cases out of 30 years. So you can change your mind is the point I'm trying to make.
Mhm.
I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be an interior decorator.
Mm.
Don't know where I got that from, right? If you look at my house today, you say, "Well, you didn't do that," huh? But I wanted to be an interior decorator. And then from there, I said, "Well, I want to be a psychologist." This is high school age, right? Got to Bradley and had to take statistics. Didn't realize I probably could have passed it, but I said no math, right? So I ended up changing to communications, radio, television production. So that's how I got into this field. But growing up, my folks did ask quite a bit, what do you want to be when you grow up? They were educated people and had degrees themselves, so they really pushed that on us. In terms of being what we call fast, and for the younger generation, being fast was just for girls, just doing things too quickly that you're not mature enough to be involved in. So I have plenty of friends who were fast, and my parents tried to keep me from them. I ran with them anyway, but but the peers tend to help shape our going forward, our thinking. So looking at today's generation, they have so much that they're involved with. I'm gonna tell you on the way here, I walked by the old Assumption High School, and now it's a prison, right? However, what I saw it appeared to be a mom and a dad with a child walking across the grounds. And I said to myself, wow, I walked across it and it was a high school. But now these kids are walking across this and they're seeing a prison. So the whole mindset is different in our culture today. Um, People have to learn to protect themselves earlier and all of that. So just the crime and everything that's going on, do you think that contributes? I know that's a lot of conversation to get to that point, but do you think crime and contributes to having to grow up?
Environment definitely plays a part in one's upbringing. And if you do not know, I think you are living in a shell. And I'm very serious about that. Everyone have a different lifestyle. Everyone has different environments. Whether you grew up in the rich type of society and environment or you feel entitled, you will act as you feel. Behavior is the scope of everything when it comes to a lot of things. Just like you spoke on the being fasting, that really was classified for young women, but it was based off the behavior and how they perceived it. And then sometimes the behavior which led to physical activities. It's a TV show. So physical activities and teen parentinghood and all that stuff. So that's why we have to learn to put a cap on it or just educate our future people about it. Right now, fast, and I'm saying this with quotations, it could lead to reckless spending, buying J's for $200, whatever. Just buying stuff and we don't look at the price, or buying stuff to fit in, or just trying to do what, as we talked about with the social media, we're just trying to fit in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Your environment does play a big role, and some people don't have a choice but to grow up too fast because of their environment.
That's another thing I thought about too as well. So single parenting, a lot of times you have moms home with the children only or dads home with the children only. And a lot of times some of the chores may be put on kids that are the adult responsibility. And kids may be feeling like they have to take care of the home.
And Brianna brought up something earlier about pressure.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a single parent and you have multiple children and that one child is probably a wee bit older, unfortunately, the burden get put on that older child, and that's where the pressure comes in. So when the child tends to grow up, the child know how to do half the stuff because the child been doing it as a child, and the child miss out on his or her childhood. And this is why this is important. So when we talk about a child growing up too fast, yes, it's about behavior, yes, it's about possibly not following rules, but let's not think about that traumatic aspect of having that child have that huge burden on him or herself.
I understand. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about some of your favorite experiences as a child. Okay? Stay tuned for more Smiles Television Talk Show. We'll be right back.
The Smiles TV Talk Show wants to showcase you, your concepts, business, organization, ministry, activities, and services. Are you an author, an artist, musician, or do you simply have an inspiring story to tell? Smiles TV shines a spotlight on the good happening around the world. Sponsorship opportunities are also available. The Smiles TV engaged audience of men and women of all ages await your story. For more information, contact Stephanie Anthony Miles at 618-741-3770 or send an email to smilestv777@gmail.com. You look better with smiles.
Welcome back to Smiles Television Talk Show. Did you grow up too fast or your children growing up too fast? We're talking about that right now. Brianna, I want to ask you, as a child, because you're closer to that age than me. So when you were a child, what were some of your favorite things to do as a child? What do you remember from your childhood?
From my childhood, I used to love to read and write and just listen to my music by myself. I was kind of a loner, so I would just sit in my room, listen to my music, or just be reading something. And I would like to do activities like with my parents, like go to Centerville. Remember Centerville?
Yeah, I understand.
Just the go-kart place with the batting cages and all of that. So I didn't really have a desire to want to grow up. Now in high school, I had a boyfriend, so that could be considered trying to grow up too fast. But other than that, I was pretty content with childhood.
Okay, excellent. And Miss Valerie, what were some of your favorite things that you remember as a child?
Go, Brianna. I got a good boyfriend. We lived in a family house, meaning all the families lived in one big house. I have to say that because a lot of people don't live in that big structure household anymore. But with that, we were kind of like a close-knit family, meaning we did a lot of things as family. It's almost like your family is your friend first, because you hang with your family, you do a lot of things as your family. I too love to read and do poetry, and time progressed, I grew, and our family, which is our little hub, or the Youngs, we moved to another section and had our own home. Therefore, we had a little more space and a little more room to just branch out and do what we want to do. But yeah, it's definitely about my environment, poetry, just relaxing, growing up, seeing the world. I was in a lot of programs as well to help expand with the cooking and social skills and so forth.
Okay, so when I was a child, I used to love to play the piano and tennis, and used to like to read and write as well. My mom used to say she thinks she's going to play tennis all her life. She's going to have to learn. She's going to need a job one day. We used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to the tennis courts and stay all day long. So that was what I enjoyed doing. So in retrospect, we understand we had some very good times, right? So today's children, I was talking to Seth's daughter, and Seth is our videographer, and his daughter is here with us today. And she's 12 years old. Her name is Kaylee. And Kaylee actually mentioned, and I'm going to see if I can paraphrase pretty much what she was saying, that her friends, first of all, she's not trying to grow up too fast. We'll put that out there. But she may know of some people who are. And what will they think when they grow up and they look back and say, wow, I missed out on this? What do you think people will say? Or will they look back and say what they missed out on? Or can they see that?
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you one big thing these kids missed out on. It's called a block party. Okay, I'm hoping my audience be like, yay, in the background. What a block party is, it's a way that the community can get together literally on their block in which they reside. And
I know what a block party is.
well, I'm talking to the general audience.
Yes, ma'am.
So with that being said, I hope someone behind her like, yay, Valerie. So with that being said, it was no violence. Everyone got together as community, meaning everyone pitched in and got the food, the drinks, and non-alcoholic, sometimes alcoholic, but they got together and got the food and the items. And I believe we had a stage at the end of it because you have to have a closing because it's a block party. And if the children want to display some sort of talents, they get to do that. And what that promotes is, of course, nonviolence, and it promotes everyone coming together, displaying their talents and gifts and so forth. And it was just fun.
So everything, not everything, but a lot of what we said includes going outside, being outdoors, enjoying the sun and the fresh air.
No electronics.
No electronics. So children, youth, adolescents, teens today, with the new lifestyle that we're living in this digital age, how do we incorporate some additional activities for them as mentors, parents, friends, or whatever? How can we encourage our culture to re-engage in getting outside and doing things together, literally, physically together, not in the room on the internet, right? But literally doing things together. How do we get our culture back to that?
Block parties.
Block parties. Okay. You like that idea.
Go back to the block parties.
I can remember also as a kid, the neighbors would take care of everyone else's children. If you were doing something wrong down the street and Miss Sally saw you, Miss Sally could whip you.
That's true. That's
And
true.
it's not like that today. The
No.
cohesiveness
No.
has changed.
No. I think when it comes to the digital age, I do think we can always mesh together. You have to think about it. You spoke on your age. We're not going to say what it is. I spoke on my age. I'm 44, and she spoke on her age. With that being said, from generation to generation, if you think about it, we have meshed everything together. We have come from a long way, and now we just continue on meshing the AI or the block parties or just the communication, sitting down at the dinner table, eating, all this stuff has come together regardless.
One more thing and we have to wrap up. But you know what I don't like? You know how they have these generated little babies on TikTok or on your social media, and then they give them these adult songs to sing?
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. I don't like that.
It's like they're grooming them to become too old. I turn those off. I don't even like looking at that. So I think our digital age is pushing the children in a direction, and as parents, we have to be responsible, and big sisters and brothers, we have to be responsible for not allowing our kids to just do whatever they want or to see or hear whatever they want, because what goes inside is going to end up coming out. Any lasting words from you guys?
Just keep reminding them about adulthood and how there's no rush to adulthood, and just savor the moments that you have as a kid, because you won't get that opportunity again once you become an adult. So I just think that we should just keep letting them know and show them by example, I guess.
That's good.
I like that. Lead by example. Allow the children to know I always like to say every day is a day that you mature. With that being said, you are growing up day by day by day, and you are seeing an extension of your society, whether it's through social media, TV, radio, what have you. But just understand when you become an adult, I like to believe your parents or your mentors will have your back, but do not rush it because it's going to happen, of course, God willing.
Excellent. I want to say that everything is not appropriate for everybody.
Yes.
And you keep, I go back to this being in the same room because you have to correct me and let me know we were talking digitally the last time. However, everything is not for everybody. There has to be some breaks, and we as the adults are the ones who have to initiate that. The kids may not like it, but we are the ones who have to make sure that things are run decently and in order. So that's what I would like to share on that. I want to thank you for tuning in to Smiles Television Talk Show. We have some great conversations, but if you have any show ideas, please feel free. Call us, contact us. You can especially contact me at SmilesTV777 at gmail.com or give me a phone call on 618-741-3770. Remember, only what you do for Christ will last, and Jesus is the Lord. The Lord be magnified.
The Smiles Television Talk Show wants to showcase your business, organization, church, and activities. If you have an interest in being a guest on Smiles Television Talk Show, or if you have any show ideas, contact Stephanie Anthony Miles at SmilesTV-777 at gmail.com. You may also call 618-741-3770. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Smiles YouTube channel. Let Smiles TV increase your reach. Remember, you look better with smiles. IDEX Media does a lot. From IDEX Photography to IDEX Films. We help create forever memories and forever impressions. Imagination, image a world. IDEX Media.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, baby.